Good afternoon. Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. Kamo talibu. Kamo sliva. Habara Akko. And what's up, bro? Musa Matt Mitchell Jr. signing in on Earth. Well, I have a lot of time on my hand. I trying to get ready to start working with my crew. I think we're gonna get ready to do a movie. I'm getting ready. I have a crew now. Now my crew is not children. My crew is grown people like myself. So now I'm in the process of getting ready to do a movie, and it would be it'd be done by adults. But the thing is, I decided to keep all my work on one network. I have a network called E=MC² Rock and Roll. And what I'm going to do is I'll put all my movies and all my short plays and everything that deals with drama. I'm going to put it on that station. That station is E=MC² Rock and Roll. What happens is you just go to YouTube and punch in E=MC² Rock and Roll, and it'll bring you to my network. And if you want to follow me as I work in my craft, basically I'll be doing everything in my craft on that network. That is, I'll be working on my children's play, and I'll be working on my movie. I have a movie that I wrote, and I got a crew. And so what happens is we're going to start working on the movie, and then I'll probably somewhere down the line I'll get hooked up again with my other project, that is E=MC² Rock and Roll, and I'll begin to make moves toward my children's play. Let me repeat. I've completed my book, E=MC² Rock and Roll. It's unlike any book you have ever read, because the way I wrote the book so that you could get the book and read the book. The book is so colorful that you could just get the book and read the book and get the story and get the message. And I will do a children's performance from that, I call it book play. And as I had indicated to my audience, that I would institutionalize my play E=MC² Rock and Roll. I want to talk about women. I want to talk about three types. I guess it's only one type, but I want to talk about three specific women. I want to talk about Eve. I think that was, if you read the Bible, she was the first woman. And then there's another woman. I hope I may have it confused. I may have the names, but I know that David, there was a woman that brought David, one of God's, I guess, David. Do they call? Is he a prophet? I guess David is a main guy. He's a main guy. In the biblical setting. I don't know if David is considered a prophet, but I know he's considered, he's a special man in biblical history. Then we got Adam, David, and then we got Samson. Now it was either Samson's wife or the woman that David went at. David went at a woman. I think her name was Delilah. But actually, I want to talk about three women in biblical times, or women that you read about in the Bible. Now, I know there's some good women in the Bible, like Esther. I think Esther was a good, on the good side. And then you had Ruth. I think there's someone in the Bible by the name of Ruth. I'm not trying to come down on the women, but I think women will be a special issue in the next decade that we're getting ready to move into. I think that's what's going to happen is, we're going to have a world that's going to be run by women. And the thing is, I don't know if that's good or if it's bad, but it is my expectation that the world that we're getting ready to live in, will happen within the next few years, we're going to find ourselves being ruled by women. Okay, I think she's from Texas, and she's a woman representative in the U.S. When I see that woman, she's a black woman. When I see that woman jump on men, it says to me something is getting ready to happen. There's going to be a gender issue with these women actually getting ready to start taking over and ruling the world. But let's get back to these three women that I want to talk about. I want to talk about Eve, and I want to talk about the woman. Is it Desdemona? I think her name. Woman's name, Desdemona. Desdemona is, maybe that was a character in one of Shakespeare's plays. I can't remember the woman that David was tempted. Let's talk about David before we talk about Adam. And I want to go back to Samson. I know I talked about Samson in my previous broadcast. We're talking about three women and three men. We're talking about Adam and Eve, David and the woman that brought him down, and Samson, the woman that brought him down. In all three cases, the woman took that, was the reason why the man was taken down. In the case of Adam, what happened was, let's deal with it the way it's dealt with, as a story. God told Adam, he said, Adam, do not eat of that tree, the tree of knowledge. He warned Adam, he said, Adam, I'm talking about the story of the beginning of man. Remember I said story. I don't know if that's necessary. The fact of the beginning of man, but I'm talking about a story of the beginning of man, a biblical story. So let's talk about this biblical story. Okay. God told Adam, he said, Adam, do not eat of the tree of knowledge. And Adam was obedient. But then what happened was the snake who was the devil came in disguise of a serpent. And this serpent said, when Eve came close to the tree, this serpent, who was the devil, said to Eve, eat of the tree. Do not believe what you have heard from your man and from God. The serpent said to Eve, to eat of the tree of knowledge. So Eve, she ate of the tree. Now, after she ate of the tree, my goodness, that wasn't any immediate thing that happened to her. But after she took the fruit from the tree of knowledge, she went to Adam, the man, and she said to him, eat of the tree of knowledge. And Adam, he ate from the tree of knowledge. So that's when man committed his first sin, according to that story. man committed his first sin when he disobeyed God. And he had disobeyed God because of the notion of the woman who God set in paradise with Adam, okay? It wasn't sexual in the beginning, okay? Now, then there was David. I don't know if David came before Samson or Samson came before David, but I'm gonna assume that David came. I'm not. I didn't say I was a biblical scholar. So Samson may have come before David, but I'm going to put it here so that I can get to my point, to get to my story. And then David, there was a woman. I think her name was Desdemona. I may not have it correctly, but I know David, the king, and David was not a prophet. I don't think he was considered a prophet, but he was a king. So what happened was David saw this fine woman, and this woman, she had a husband. And so David, he looked and saw this fine woman, so he designed it so that her husband would be killed. That way he could take the fine woman. So he did that. He was able to make a design so that her husband was killed. Therefore, David had this fine woman. Now, I want to just say a few things before I go to Samson. David could have had any woman in the kingdom. I mean, my goodness, he was a king, powerful king. He could have had any woman in the kingdom. But he chose to get another man's woman, and he chose to have the man killed. And then David had to pay for that in the long run. Now let's get back. Now let's go to Samson. Okay, Samson was he was a man who feared God, and God had given him a special power, strength. And what happened was, now I don't know why Samson had to be disciplined. All I know is that it was a woman who cut his hair. And I don't know why he had to be disciplined. I don't know the circumstance that made God decide to get Samson, and they tore Samson's eyes out, or either the enemy tore his eyes out, or he pulled his eyes out. Something about Samson. I'm not trying to preach. I'm only recalling I'm only recalling stories that I read from the Bible. And I'm not saying that I'm a priest or a minister, but I'm only using these to get to a point. The point is, we got 3 men, we got 3 women, and we got God. And these 3 men, they made God angry. And the reason why they made God angry was it had something to do with a woman. Okay, now in English we say woman. Now let's look at the word woman. Let's spell it W-O-M-A-N. Woman. Woman. Why is it woman? Well, I think basically where this this discussion has led to is that don't expect too much from our next president, you black men. Don't expect too much to come in your favor because of the new president of the United States of America. So I remember there was a man who was elected president of the United States of America. He was part African and he was part American. And he spent 8 years in the White House. And what this man did was, he said, it's okay for men to marry men and women to marry women. I remember there was a story about Sodom and Gomorrah in that same Bible that I read about Adam and Eve, David and his woman, and Samson and his woman. In that same Bible, I can remember it saying that men should not do what women do. Or God made man and God made woman. But I remember there was a colored man who was elected president of the United States of America previously. And the most that I can remember that he did was to say that men could marry men and women could marry women. So don't expect too much to come in our favor because the President of the United States of America is a colored woman. Do not be misled. Just reflect on the past. Consider the present and wait for the future. Because this is Musa Matt Meacham Jr. signing out on Earth.